Oh, it's simple. Why the Rockets lost against the Golden State Warriors, why they couldn't win Game 6 or Game 7. It's simple to me. Trust me, I get it. You needed a leader on the court. Chris Paul was your leader. And you know what? James Harden hasn't developed that trait yet as a leader. Now, you could tell me he should have that trait if he's going to be the most valuable player in the league in a couple weeks. I'll give you that. But he doesn't have that trait of a leader. They brought Chris Paul and they traded away a lot of pieces. You gave away a lot of guys. A guy like Patrick Beverley, maybe if that Rockets team is up 15 points going into the second half against the Golden State Warriors, maybe he holds guys accountable. I'm just saying. Now, you can make the case maybe the Rockets aren't in the position that they're in. Maybe they don't have home court against the Warriors if you have Patrick Beverley and not Chris Paul. That's fair. But again, to a degree, we have to blame Chris Paul. At the end of the day, it's his body. Unfortunately, it was a freak injury, that hamstring. He had been struggling with it all year. I don't know at this point in Chris Paul's life, is there anything he could have done physically to change in his diet? I don't know. This could just be something he's going to have to deal with randomly throughout his career. But this is on Chris Paul. And I could give Harden all the blame I want to. I can say, yo, you had double-digit leads in the second quarter against the Warriors in both Game 6 and Game 7 with a chance to go to the finals on the line. Figure it out. I can say that. But the reality is, Harden ain't developed that role yet as a leader and a guy that can call people out yet. He ain't got it yet. And that's what they signed Chris Paul for. And he was unavailable for that team in Game 6 and Game 7. I'm sorry. He's going to want max money for 5 years this summer. Trust me, Chris Paul does not want to leave Houston. I watched an interview with Chris Paul the other day, and he discussed how when he left the Los Angeles Clippers last summer, he had an interview the next day, a photo shoot / interview the next day, and he couldn't even get to the photo shoot he was throwing up. He had made the decision to leave Los Angeles and go to Houston. It made him sick to his stomach even thinking about making his family move. That brother doesn't want to move around often. He's going to want that 5-year max by Houston. And if I'm the Rockets, I'm very hesitant to give him. I might give him a couple years at max dollar. I might even overpay for a couple years. But to give him a 5-year deal and to see that body break down in years 3, 4, and 5, I just don't know. It's breaking down in front of us. He had injury problems all year. What bailed the Rockets out is James Harden is a phenomenal regular season player, and he gets a lot of fouls in the regular season. And a lot of nights he was just able to will his team to wins. Chris Paul was sitting out. Heck, he started the season on the bench. He got injured in Game 1 of the season against Golden State. So I'm just saying, man, I think Chris Paul wants to do things that his body just doesn't have the capabilities of doing it at this point in his career. And he's to blame for the Rockets losing Game 6 and 7. You heard Eric Gordon after the game. He said, we have Chris Paul, we win that game. He's right. They had the Warriors on edge. We haven't seen the Warriors on edge like that since this team added Kevin Durant. They took the Warriors to a place we hadn't seen. And if you got Chris Paul on your team, I got to believe with a double-digit lead, you don't lose that. Because what happened is they had that double-digit lead. They go into the third quarter. James Harden goes back to old James Harden for some reason. The Warriors start making shots, and immediately James Harden goes back to old James Harden. He started chunking up threes, stopped passing the ball. What got them the lead in the first half, right? So everyone's not feeling like they're involved. When guys don't feel like they're involved, guys stop playing defense. And when you're not playing defense, the Warriors get hot. And guys like Steph, Clay, and Kevin Durant get it going. And it's over after that. That doesn't happen if Chris Paul's on the court. I got to believe that he somehow culminates this group together to get one of those 2 victories. And unfortunately, Chris Paul, I know he's sick to his stomach today, but he got to have some kind of accountability for that. He wasn't available for his team when they needed him the most in Game 6 and 7.
I want to salute you, homie, for building your own thing and doing your own thing, creating your own platform, your own website.
I got one life to live out my dreams, and I'm giving this thing all I got. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I represent the culture.
Right now, you're turning up on MrTaliaferro.com, shawty. Yeah.